what's your level of confidence going into these elections on the back of the pledges that have been made by the various candidates, 12 of them?
Well, Samson, thank you very much. I think that it's good to have our candidates make these pledges. They are quite symbolic. They could have potential effects and all of that. But of course, the realities are also there. I don't think that any politician or any of the candidates would want to be seen to be somebody who is not committed to peace, because it could have electoral consequences. The NDC, for example, had raised a number of points and initially had said they would only sign the accord if those issues were addressed. I think there was a series of engagements between the party and other stakeholders, particularly the Peace Council, to get them to sign. The question we must ask is, those issues that they were raising, have they been addressed? And if they have not been addressed, is it the case that the party is saying, okay, we raised them, but now we've forgotten about them?
They insisted that the IG must be part of that, the judiciary must be part of it, and also the Attorney General must be part of it.
Yeah, but as I said, the question is, did those things happen? The answer obviously is no. They were present and made statements, but in terms of signing as a commitment, that did not happen. The other thing, Samson, that we must bear in mind is that there are a number of things that are happening across many parts of this country that are political, either politically orchestrated or have political implications. And by political, I mean even electoral implications. I think sometimes talking about whether the elections will be peaceful or not, we tend to perhaps look more at what will happen in Accra, what will happen in Kumasi, and some of the other big areas. And then we would say, oh, the situation is terrible. In 2020, we are talking about the situation in Techiman, where 8 people lost their lives, others injured. In Accra, Pius and a few others who also got injured. But we are in a situation where in one particular territory of this country, every day people are being killed. And we are 7 days into elections. And it appears that when we are doing our analysis and calculations about whether the elections will be peaceful, more peaceful or not, we tend to forget that. And certainly we all know that the developments in Boko, for example, has electoral implications. I mean, things are happening partly also because of the elections coming up, and the politicians are behind it. The EC at some point not too long ago had to come out to say that whatever the case may be, they will make sure that elections are held in Boko. In the event elections are not held because the gun battles escalate and so on, are we going to conclude that the elections was more peaceful? I doubt. And apart from Boko, there are other areas where, depending on who wins, the conflict may die down or escalate, and we know it. And therefore, the electorates in those communities are also, neck to neck in terms of making sure that their candidates or their favorite politicians win. And so I tend to perhaps agree with the assessment that a lot of people have anxiety and fears that if care is not taken, this year's elections might end up being perhaps more violent than maybe previous elections. But of course, we do have some assurances. I think that at this stage, maybe the assurances from the police can be taken more seriously than perhaps in previous elections, because at least we've seen the same leadership supervise about 2 or 3 by-elections that were uniquely peaceful and well coordinated in terms of the security issues. And so that should give us some level of assurance. And I've always had confidence in our armed forces, even though we do know that there are cracks in there are issues of disagreements and all of that. So certainly that should also give us some level of assurance.
Are you one of the range of people that the British High Commissioner has listened to? Professor Enin says that Harriet Thompson got it wrong. I think it's not about Harriet Thompson. She's telling you about what she has heard. And I think for Professor Enin, for someone who has just a while ago, taking on the EC for how it takes feedback and reacts to it, this is someone who has heard something and is giving feedback, and you just rubbish it. Is that what you think should be done? Yes, Sule, are you one of those who spoke to her?
No, certainly given my role and work, we engage with the diplomatic community all the time. We talk to the diplomats and their officials all the time. They engage. And I mean, of course, you do know that a lot of the work we do ahead of elections or elections-related work by almost every CSO is supported by these, international organizations. So I think that, of course, in my view, I have put it here, that given the antecedents of what is happening in some of our communities and all of that, and the state has basically taken its eyes off, as if the lives of those people don't matter. Meanwhile, we are talking about not too long ago, Samson, just about a month ago, we had a situation where a traditional authority says we are imposing a ban on a political campaign of a particular political party, throughout 6 constituencies. And we say that's
in Boku.
Yes. And then we say that doesn't matter. We are in a situation where we all know, those who understand the Boku context will tell you that it is difficult for candidates of the MPP, for example, to openly campaign for their presidential candidate. And some of them are going about saying, well, you can vote for me, but decide who you vote for in terms of the presidential. Has this happened in Ghana before? Not. And if these things are happening, how do we rubbish the claim that people have anxiety that this election, perhaps if we are not careful, could experience a lot more violence than before? So for me, it's a reality.
Okay, let me speak to Douglas.